Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here, and you are very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Hello, welcome back to Big Mouth, and you can keep this or any other conversation I ignite going over on my Twitter at Movies TV Mad, my Vero at Big Mouth 1, and the extension to this channel is my Instagram, Big Mouth. Yes, Zack Snyder stands defiant today, while the Variety and Warner Brothers hit piece backfires. It was like they were trying to say to us, look at what we've got in this hand. Look at your hand. You've got a Superman movie, a Green Lantern movie, a Batman villain spin-off, Todd Phillips Black Label movie spin-offs. Forget about that hand. Forget about the Snyder Cut. We didn't. It backfired. Release the Snyder Cut was trending. Just think about this, Warner Brothers and Variety, very carefully. Before your hit piece, there was no events planned. We would have released the Snyder Cut a little bit, maybe a trend of 10,000. You got us trending big time. Your plan backfired because you don't have a plan. It's pretty clear to me, after that massive weekend where we pretty much had 100,000 tweets and we were trending, that Sunday, Warner Brothers were not saying, oh, we better get this film released. They were saying, how can we spin this? How can we get out of this? This is what companies do. They will try and dig deep to dig themselves out of a situation. You're saying, Mick, but why? Isn't it easier just to release the Snyder Cut? Of course it is. It's much easier to release the Snyder Cut. But these people are stubborn. They're just looking at what they've got. Now, the one thing that was good about the Variety article was a clarity in what they are attempting to do. The future plans for Green Lantern and Superman, the future plans for HBO, original DC movies made at a budget. These are great things, and these excite me. And it's only that we get to the final paragraph and they start kind of talking about release the Snyder Cut, a pipe dream. Well, do you know what? If release the Snyder Cut is a pipe dream, I love pipe dreams. I've been dreaming all my life. I imagined a day that I could talk to hundreds of people about my passions for storytelling. Guess what? That pipe dream came true. So, Warner Brothers and Variety failed in what they were attempting to do. They were trying to show us their plans, hoping that everyone would let go of the Release the Snyder Cut initiative. How incredibly naive you are, Warner Brothers, because this is what happened. This was Zack's response. And you can understand, he's pretty angry. Look, we got the Trinity there. Awesome. This guy is awesome in the movie. William Dafoe is in Justice League as Voco. Doesn't he look great? What else we got? What else we got? A little context. Yes, pretty awesome, right? With Mira, Voco and Mira. I must say that those two do look great on screen together as well. And when I woke up, he said this was the final one. Forget about the picture of me. But that's Batman, looking pretty awesome, I think, with those goggles as well. So he was speaking a lot to fans on Vero. He was talking about a lot of things. You can tell that he's angry. You can tell that he's frustrated. But also, why did he do it? Why did he post those pictures? To make a point that this film is completed. Those pictures look brilliant. These are not just unfinished BTS footages, right? These are pictures of a completed movie, of sequences of a completed movie. Now, that part of the Variety article that says, Warner Brothers are not willing to spend all that money. This is why I think that part of the article is a lie and nothing to do with Warner Brothers. We have to kind of question the validity of this article, because as I read this to you on yesterday's DCEU Extra, check it out on my homepage, please, I was very excited. That's the whole point. I even mistakenly called it a great article. And before it gets to the Snyder Cut, it is a great article. I'm guessing a lot of the things they said were true, but some of them were false. Some of the stuff they were talking about it's not really breaking. The only kind of thing that kind of was a surprise when they said like the villains being that we're going to see in the Batman and Harley Quinn, the Emancipation of Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey. The actors are kind of signed up on agreements to do standalones and sequels. Well, to be honest with you, with that, that's a given. All actors on superhero movies and TV shows are signed up for that kind of contract. So again, I think the big shock was that Jeff Johns will be delivering his Green Lantern core script by the end of the year. That's interesting because we didn't really know what was going on there. So as I say, this is an article mixed with facts and fiction. But once you start talking about having to complete a film that's already been completed, then you are devoid of facts. Because let's get one thing straight here. Warner Brothers know what we know, and what obviously Zack Snyder knows, that the Justice League, the Snyder Cut of Justice League, is completed. So that's a fabrication. But congratulations, Variety. Not only have you made yourselves look dumb, you helped release the Snyder Cut actually trend. Now, what's interesting about this, Variety's header of the article on Twitter actually hashtagged release the Snyder Cut. These people, these sites, these companies now understand that hashtagging release the Snyder Cut can get more attention onto their articles. So I think in the context of that article, we have to start to think, is this coming from Warner Brothers, or was this just a Variety hit piece? Or was this a Variety hit piece? It was absolutely a hit piece, especially when we get to the release the Snyder Cut subject. But was it with the intense permission of Warner Brothers? Did they work on this together? Was this supposed to make us forget about the Snyder Cut? Because you got it wrong, you failed, it backfired, and now you've got a bunch of people who reacted in the best way. Instead of swearing and getting aggressive, we all hashtagged release the Snyder Cut. So this movement is very much alive, and this movement is on the lips of everyone now. You have created a situation. But when I was reading that article at the time, I didn't realise something. That article actually says that Warner Brothers are having trouble deciding what to do with Superman. As you know, if you know me that well, you'll know my pinned tweet is an idea for a Superman movie. Millions of fans around the world have got some brilliant, great, awesome ideas how you pull off Superman on film. And then they said that that J.J. Abrams and Bad Robot would prefer to do Green Lantern before Superman. That is not true. The only reason that J.J. Abrams even got involved and Bad Robot got involved with Warner Brothers is because he's always wanted to make a Superman film. They were talking about nothing being done for Superman, for us not seeing a Superman movie to 2023. That simply is not good enough. That needs to be fast-tracked as soon as possible, whether it's Henry Cavill or someone else. Now, the Michael B. Jordan thing, where he was giving Warner Brothers some ideas of how he could be Superman in a movie, that's old news. That's not going to happen, and they worded it very carefully. What I kind of found interesting was other sites interpreting that bit of the article were misinterpreting it. It's not going to happen. Now, I'm all for an Elseworlds Superman of colour. That would be awesome. I just don't think Michael B. Jordan has the screen presence to do it. And it looks like Warner Brothers agree with me because that's not going to go ahead. They need to make the greatest, most awesome, most epic Superman film they can make. That's what we deserve. Whether or not they release the Snyder Cut, whether or not they bring Zack back to complete his arc, after what we read from Variety, looks really, really unlikely. And there's so many things going on. There's so many things going on. There's so many pundits talking about it now. People like us, normies or whatever you want to call us. I suppose you wouldn't call Zack Snyder fans normies anyway. So everyone has an opinion, and all that article did was get more and more people talking. Now, I kind of start to think, what was the real motivation for the Variety article? Was it really a hit piece, or was it tactically, were they doing it on purpose to get this to trend again? Are Warner Brothers, in fact, playing a game with us? They're trying to wind us up so much So this keeps on trending. Because I said yesterday on, I think the DCEU Extra or the DCEU Daily, that Release the Snyder Cut is an excuse, a license to print money. Since that Sunday when it gained 100,000 tweets, it's clear now that the mainstream audience will be very, very willing to go to theatres and watch this film, to pay for a subscription for HBO Max. So I am not as convinced as Warner Brothers are saying that this is nothing but a pipe dream. It's funny, isn't it? They've all got their little insiders, but who are these insiders? And are these true facts? You know, as I say, when you look at the element of that part of the Variety article that talks about Release the Snyder Cut, they seemed the information was very, very bad. You know, it would take tens of millions of dollars to complete the movie, which is a blatant lie. You know, Variety know, as well as Warner Brothers know, as well as we know, and as well as Zack Snyder knows, this film is pretty much complete. Now, I don't know if it needs touching up here or there, but they know this film's good to go. So I'm not convinced. Even Amazon, right? Amazon Prime, the streaming service, are actually plugging the theatrical version of Justice League. They even did a tweet saying, will Release the Snyder Cut happen? We don't know, but you can see the theatrical version. So even they are hashtagging Release the Snyder Cut. Why? Because they know it's trending all the time now. It's a big deal. This thing isn't going away. This thing isn't going to be buried. And an article like that isn't going to work. Now, it's very interesting because the people who wrote that article, normally Justin Kroll and somebody else, Justin Kroll normally has a good ear to the ground and you can take it to the bank. But was this an opinion piece or was this a piece laid in fact? As I say, a lot of the information, definitely kind of giving Walter Hamada some credit. I like that because Walter Hamada came in to do a really difficult gig. I've said this to you guys and girls so many times. It's, you know, I don't think any of us could come in and clean up the Justice League mess. And they did that without releasing the Snyder Cut. They did that with Aquaman, $1 billion, with Joker, $1 billion. Shazam is loved by children around the world now. The next film will make so much more money. The home release made so much money as well. So they are doing well. The article is correct there. So the elements are, these people are sitting there saying we really don't need to be doing this Release the Snyder Cut thing because it just complicates matters. It makes Warner Brothers' life a lot more complicated, but we are not going to stop fighting for this cut. And you know, there's lots of variables here. But the point is, this has never happened. I've been watching films since I was 10 years old. I've been, trying to find out behind the scenes stuff since I was 10 years old. I always used to stay and watch the credits in the films to make sure I knew who was making them and what names were attached. I was always interested in this industry. It went more than beyond the surface of someone just watching a film and enjoying it. So I know where all the bodies are buried. I know what goes on, and I'm certainly tapped into what's going on with Zack Snyder. I mean, he's literally still editing his Netflix zombie film, right, while he's letting all this stuff out. So he's very focused on this cut of his Justice League movie being released, and he is not going to relent. In fact, the man is relentless. The more they say things, the more they lie. As I said to you yesterday, first their defense was the Snyder Cut did not exist. Now they can't say that. It is not completed. It will take too much money to complete. It doesn't matter what you say because we are not in the old days. We're not 20 years ago where you could actually say something and we had no other evidence. This is the era of the internet, of social media, Vero, Twitter, Instagram. The information is out there. Dozens of people who work with Zack on this movie are giving us information. In fact, even a couple of them are DMing me constantly, telling me where the real bodies are buried, what's going on. These people are leaking like someone who's had too much beer and can't stop going to the loo. These people want us to know. These people want us pushing because they're desperate for this to happen. This is a war. This is Zack Snyder versus Warner Brothers now. They come out with this hit piece, right? Or Variety's hit piece. We do not know if Warner Brothers are behind it. It would look like they are, but we mustn't add 2 and 2 and make 6. So Zack Snyder responds with 5 or 6 new images. Zack would never do that normally, and if it wasn't for that hit piece, Zack wouldn't have done it. So it's like a game of tennis. You hit it softly, I hit it harder, you hit it harder, and this is what's going on. As much as I'm involved and desperate to see this cut, this is a fascinating situation. This is Hollywood history. It's the bloggers and the studio versus the fans and the filmmaker. And that, my friends, I have never seen a situation like this in my life. So who can you trust and who can't you trust in this situation? Whether you're part of this movement or outside of it, let me educate you. Don't listen to any blogger, even the ones supporting the release of the cut. They've jumped in the final act. I mean, the Mark, whatever his name is, right, he did a big article, right, and he was saying, oh, people saying that I'm just jumping on a bandwagon. Listen, mate, the only reason you started getting involved is because you heard noises that the studio might be interested in releasing the picture, and you jumped on a bandwagon. At the end of the day, he did write a great article. God, I forgot his name now, but it doesn't matter. So you can't trust bloggers. That's one thing. You can't trust these big, even people like Variety, it's clear. You can't trust them. People like Justin Kroll, John Campion, all of these people, you cannot trust them. You can definitely trust people like Kevin Smith, who have been shouting through the rooftops. No, he has not jumped on the bandwagon. Kevin Smith is a good man. And on his Fat Man on Batman or Batman on Fat Man or whatever that is called, he had someone who went to a test screening. He's always said, release it. Now, I don't know if Kevin Smith's a fan of Zack Snyder. I don't know if Kevin Smith agrees with how he kind of put together his DC films, because, you know, Kevin Smith is the ultimate nerd. Let's not forget that. But whether he agrees with Zack or not, he has been championing for this cut to be released. So people, please stop abusing him. It isn't a good look for us. It's absolutely pathetic. So basically, you can't trust the bloggers. Trust the cast, the Justice League cast and crew. They're absolutely on our side. Zack Snyder, we can trust him. Anyone else cannot be trusted. This has become a big, big war. And what happened last night, because it was night time over here, early evening, and this went on and on to late evening here in Europe, probably for you guys in America, this all started off in the morning, how it always does. But there's nothing more beautiful to me, 3:30, 4 o'clock here in Cyprus, when America wakes up and the tweets come in and the opinions come in from America. This is what gets me going, and I get really, really excited, and I'm jotting this stuff, what I'm going to do on that day's DCEU Daily and maybe DCEU Extra. So what happened last night was unprecedented. The Variety piece was a hit piece that backfired. It backfired so hard. Instead of making everyone not talk about the Snyder Cut, the idea of that piece is for us to all start trending and talking about a Green Lantern movie, a Superman movie, you know, Batman villain spin-offs as part of Todd Phillips' Black Label. That's what we're meant to be trending and talking about, but it backfired because the thing they didn't want us to talk about, we spoke about in our droves, and it trended again. Warner Brothers and Variety's plan backfired so hard. And you kind of wonder what Warner Brothers are going to be thinking now. It's pretty clear that at this moment in time, we're not getting anything. We're not getting the Snyder Cut. So we have to keep on pushing harder. And I just think it's fabulous to see a big entity, a massive studio, really trying to spin a situation they cannot spin. Why can't they spin it? Because we are at the age of the internet, and you can't fight the leakage of information, Warner Brothers. We know that Zack completed a film, a brilliant film. We know that you cut his film to pieces and got someone else to write substandard content for that film. It's a mess. Wouldn't you rather a brilliant Justice League movie with Darkseid and Green Lantern and Superman and all the rest of them, right? In an epic movie, in an epic tale, so we all forget about the theatrical version of Justice League. Wouldn't you rather allow that to be released so we can finally move on with your future plans? I don't understand. You guys just do not listen to your consumers, and you are wrong. People want this. Even people who said originally that they didn't want this now. I'm staggered, Warner Brothers, that you went through this tactic, through this variety hit piece. All you did is stir up a bigger storm, a bigger problem, a bigger issue than you already have. You have re-motivated us. You have re-energized us. This isn't going away. You cannot spin this. You cannot fabricate this. The only thing you should do is release the Snyder Cut. So please comment down below. Like the video, share the video. If you like the channel and you like what I do, please share the channel as well. And I may see you later.